Hi. Today the main topic is how to design a Slack bot server for the issue. So this issue is the GitHub issue. But the first thing you have to know about this is why we need such a Slack bot server for the GitHub issue. Mm, like lots of startup, they kind of have system for making an issue. Example, go to the GitHub website and go to your repository and make an issue, and based on that issue ticket, you make a pull request. And if you if you open your PR, you have to connect it to your issue and you have to type it. And that process is really tedious for me. And my ex company, which is like great, like it was like among the seven big tech companies in Korea, and they just utilize Slack bot server for managing this kind of issue. So when I try to type dash some kind of prefix on it, prefix. So this is the prefix is gonna be related to the issue. Example, issue make that issue make, whatever stuff, and the issue content of it. So if I'm trying to make some kind of this kind of syntax, like example, issue, and your issue content is gonna be here in some kind of Slack channel, issue channel. The issue is gonna be automatically made in your GitHub repo, and this is really interesting because you made some kind of like issue for this issue content, and the Slack was the GitHub Slack bot server, which is gonna replay the thread of your issue content. So example, this is your root of your thread, and the issue bot is just gonna reply the issue ticket number of it. Example like 300, like RTC 300 those kind of things. So RTC is gonna be your team name, and 300 is gonna be your issue ticket name. So based on that, you were able to make some kind of rule for the branch name, PR title, syntax of it. Example, the branch name is gonna be fit RTC 312, and the PR title is gonna be like whatever fit RTC 312, and there's gonna be content of it. And that's very interesting part because what you have to care is you just make the issue content, right? And go to your GitHub repo and make an issue of it. You just send some kind of specific message of it, and you were able to get the issue ticket number with the prefix, your team name, with no code, with no some kind of effort of it. The Slack bot is gonna be handle this kind of thing, and what engineer has to care about is just kind of root of it, and that is core the system. That is why we need to have those kind of system, because this system is kind of making this development process even faster. So that was the kind of introduction of making introduction on how to make why we need some kind of Slack bot server. But next is how to design a Slack bot server. So this is my way to make a Slack bot server on my startup team. There's a library for the board.js. So I'm a front engineer, so I can make some kind of server with JS, also TS. And board.js is just a really the simple server framework, but it's Slack bot. And the thing you have to care about this is the Slack bot is basically this event. When you're trying to type some kind of specific message, that's an event. So Slack bot server, it's just the all of the event listener of it. So you don't have to care about some like API calls, the traffic of it, because that is this server is just for the event, even the GitHub is for the event because the GitHub webhook is the event of it. So what I did was I made a board.js, and based on that, I make the Slack's uh, Slack class, and there's a GitHub class. Let's say GitHub service, and there's a Slack service. So based on that, and I copied the issue channel ID, and I am this kind of issue channel ID onto this part. So this Slack service has a domain that the where to subscribe some kind of the Slack channel, because I already hard coded. I know the hard code is really bad thing, but you know, this is just kind of test case, so we're just kind of trying to use the hard coding rather than using a DB. And after that, you have to put the event listeners of which the message or whatever the button actions also be the event. So usually gonna be listen the message. So the prefix, yeah, you can just these are the prefix of it. Example, that's issue or slash issue or is or those kind of stuff, and you should have the prefix here. And based on that, you just have to put all the business logic related to the message on here. And of course, this GitHub service has to be integrated on this part, because when you're trying to some kind of send a issue making message, you have to create the issue based on the GitHub API. So you have to inject this kind of dependency on Slack service, and that's it. But the question is, okay, some guy, some engineer sends some kind of event on the Slack service. Well, how will we analyze this person's GitHub ID? We only know Slack ID, right? So what I did was I make a repo for the Slack issue, GitHub issue, and I put the metadata JSON. So inside of this kind of metadata JSON, I put the paper on here with the Slack ID and GitHub ID. So what we have to do is, before fetching it, we get the metadata JSON, and we checked the Slack IDs from the request, and we just loop this object or find the Slack ID corresponding to this kind of metadata. So basically, there's gonna be GitHub ID on it. So we're just gonna use the GitHub ID for the assigners. We are not trying to. The thing is that the persons cannot make an issue comment, because if we try to do it, we need this kind of person's access token. So what we did was we make the GitHub app in our organization, and we put the access token logic from here. So rather than getting the access token from the person, we heavily rely on the GitHub app, and GitHub app, we're just gonna create issue for you, but the assignee is gonna be you, because putting assignee is very simple, because GitHub app has to just know about your person's GitHub ID, but we already have a GitHub ID, so we can just use API for the making issue, but the GitHub app is going to be make an issue, and but assignees, we can just get the value from the meta-JSON corresponding the request person's Slack ID, and we put this GitHub ID on the assignees, and that's all. That means that we don't have to care about DB. And also we integrate the webhook that if the PR is merged make a notification on the thread, on the issue thread. And after that, when we click the down button of the issue is gonna be merged. The issue gonna be closed because GitHub app is gonna be the one who close the issue, not him. So that's kind of system how to design a Slackboard server for the GitHub issue. I know I'm a front end engineer. There's no reason for like making those kind of things. But the thing is that this is kind of a really good way to enhance the developer experience. And my backend engineer have no experience about this kind of stuff because they're just a student. I'm also a student, but I had the big opportunity to get a job in the big tech company as a contract and software engineer, and already experienced this kind of system. And if I tell them build this kind of stuff, they're just gonna put so many research to find how does it work. That gonna be cost most time because they never had this kind of experience. So I have experience of this kind of Slackboard server, so I just made it. Actually, I already made this kind of Slackboard server within 3 to 4 days, so it just completely works pretty fine. But the bad thing is there's no DB, so the access token is gonna be fetched every single API, so that's really bad. But there's only 3 people on our team, so we don't have to care about those kind of traffic way because this is only the Slackboard server for the issue, so we don't need to think about like those kind of like latency of it. Because if we decrease the latency, there's no business impact of that. So this is it. Have a nice day and see you next time. Bye bye.